Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today we're going to do a few things where it might not be as exciting as our nether trips, but it's definitely essential. I'd like to start some building. So what we're going to do today firstly is we got the suggestion to get a pet. So we will go on the hunt to find a wolf and get a pet dog. So any name suggestions will be great. Then we are going to do some town planning and we're going to go exploring a little bit, as I would like to find a desert biome because we need some sand for our building that we are wanting to do, and maybe some terracotta if we can, because that we will need in future as well. So we found our first dog. It took quite a while to find one actually. I traveled far and wide, but we found one. And yes, I look forward to your suggestions to see what we should name him. So please drop a comment. I am not the most creative when it comes to names, so I look forward to getting some ideas from you. Then I headed out in, I think, northern direction, just to go see what I could find. I found this big cave and there's a mine shaft down there, so that might be something we can come back to. But yeah, this world has many cool areas and just views and things. But yeah, as I missioned on, I just went down this river. I then found this little village that I just went through, took some hay bales, just a few things. Yeah, I don't think the chests in these are ever that good. I mean, often you might get a diamond item here or there, but in general, not really. I do sometimes just take the books because they come in handy in general, especially if you want to put them in a build. But yeah, generally not much else. I then went along this river, and as I came around this bend, I saw something that looked like the Badlands biome. So I just had to kind of stop and spend the night there and then travel on. So we found this Badlands biome. It seems small-ish, but as I kind of just traveled up just to see how far it goes, it wasn't very big. But it led us into a desert, so that helps. I mean, we could just use this for the amount of terracotta that we need, because I'm assuming we might not need tons, but we've got a bit of desert, which is useful. I then spotted this desert village in the distance, so I just made my way there. And again, just went through all the little chests and things. The nice thing about a desert village is I like to take the pots. It's one of those villages, the only villages that actually have them. So I took them, and they also have the sea pickles. So unless you find a ocean where there are some sea pickles in there, this is the only other place you can find them. Oh, I think beside a wandering trader as well, but yes, the sea pickles you can actually find as decoration in this village. Finding a desert village was always like super exciting because that's where you could find a camel if you really wanted one. But recent changes in Bedrock made that you would be able to find a camel anywhere in the desert. So now you don't even have to find a village, so that's kind of useful. And guys, we found our first ruined nether portal. I was looking so far and wide for these when I was looking for some obsidian and couldn't find anything. So yes, we are on episode 5 and eventually finding a nether portal. So yeah, but nothing exciting in the chest. At least there was a golden apple, so we took that. And guys, and then we saw a mangrove swamp right over this little hill in the desert, which is super exciting because I think we might like to just get a sapling here. If you didn't know, you can bone meal the leaves of a mangrove tree, the underside of the mangrove tree's leaves, and it will give you a propagule, and a propagule is used to grow mangrove trees. But here they already have propagules, but they might not be fully grown. So I just used some bone meal to bone meal them and get 2 or 3. So yes, that we can take home and then just take down some trees. I just decided to collect some mud as well while we were here. You can also make mud otherwise. You just take a glass bottle with water in it and you apply that to dirt, a general dirt block, not a grass block, just dirt, and it turns to mud. So, and if you put that mud block on a block that has a dripstone below it, that actually becomes clay. So there are some cute farms that you can make that actually, make it easy to make your own mud and make your own clay, which we will probably do at some point. But while I was here, I thought, let me just gather some of these, mud blocks while we can, and while they are here naturally. Okay, and after that journey, we came out into the desert where we spotted a desert temple. So this is quite exciting because what I found playing on a realm is that a lot of people don't actually know how the loot in a desert temple works. So I'm quite excited to actually show you. I think everyone knows about the hole in the ground and digging down, etc. But there might be some people who don't know, so I'll show that. But then also about the secret area where you can, dust some sand, so some suspicious sand. So firstly, I just light it up because there are often, creepers in here and you don't want to get stuck, actually running into a creeper in this place. So I usually choose this corner block and then stand in it. I've had it where the blocks actually, fall down into the hole, and to those who know, there are explosive down in this hole. So below this pressure plate here is TNT, so you can break that and collect that as well. I'm just not going to do that because I don't need it right now, but I can always come back. I light it up so nothing spawns here, and then I loot these chests. As I mentioned, you are able to find TNT down here as well, so you can take that. The other thing you can find here is armor trims, and I think I haven't spoken about those yet. So your armor, you are able to get some trims and you can apply them on any kind of armor, but you get different ones. So you get the dune one here in the desert biome in the temple, get other ones that you find in the ancient cities, get different ones in shipwrecks, etc. So I'd love to collect them all and then display them somewhere, in a museum type build. So that would be great. There's other things that we could also collect. Discs, what's the other thing? Pottery sherds that you make pots with. So, and you also find them in different places. Okay, so here in this corner, in every temple, you see these sandy patches amongst the sandstone. So none of these are suspicious. They just look like regular sand. But you must be careful because if you dig out a suspicious sand block, it breaks whatever treasure would have been in that suspicious sand block. So I will show you when we find one, but you have to look at each little block, very carefully. So these are all regular sand blocks. Now you see this one, it's completely different to the one below it. Obviously, if you're going to break the one below it, this one will fall down and break because it's a gravity block. So you take your brush and you brush it, and it threw out a pottery sherd. So this is what we were just speaking about. Okay, and then I usually work from the top here. So I just take out the first layer of sand and then I move on to the next. And I do them very carefully. As you can see, that one on the left is also a suspicious sand block. And I just check, and then I can go down and make sure nothing that I take out is suspicious sand. So these are a few. So here's a suspicious sand block. I'll just do that. And it's currently just throwing out pottery sherds, but they do have other things in them as well, like diamonds as well as emeralds, etc. I would suggest on a journey like this you make some, if you don't have shulker boxes yet, I suggest you make some bundles and take them along, because there's a little bits and pieces of everything that you will be able to collect, and just throw them in those little bags. Okay, and here again, as I mentioned before, I carry in a bundle, I carry some iron and sticks, or wood, at least 4 sticks, so to make a new shovel. Alright, and then continuing on carefully not to break the suspicious sand blocks, and believe me, it happens every so often where you do break one that you shouldn't, and it really hurts because you're like, it could have been diamonds. But yes, we will just be very careful. It's often better to use a stone shovel, or something like that, so that it's going to have you're not accidentally going to break something that you shouldn't have. And guys, there I accidentally actually broke one that I shouldn't have. But yeah, as I said, it happens and we just move on. And here I just got a diamond as well from this one block. So yeah, just be really careful that you don't break them. But as I say, if you are kind of scared that you'll break it accidentally, because some of them are really, so the shovels are really efficient, the higher up you go in, the quality of them, you might want to use a worse quality kind of shovel so it doesn't, mine as fast. Okay, and it looks like all of these bottom ones are just sand, so I can just, go over it and not actually mine them unless I want the sand. Okay guys, and now we're getting into our town planning. I really want to start with a build today if I have the time. So we are just going to make it like a town square area. And I'm just making it slightly bigger than it is now. We'll eventually, put in some cobble streets, etc. and make it all pretty. But for now, I just want to do a planning of what's going to go where. Okay, now that we've finished that, we're also going to move our notice board to the side here. It's just a little bit in the way where it is right now. Then up here, up on this hill, I will obviously widen this little pathway as well and make it pretty and more slopey, etc. But up on this hill we will be building our house, my house. So yes, I'm just making a pathway to that. We'll have some others, so this will be more or less our residential area. We'll make a few other just little houses, you know, that doesn't specifically belong to anyone. It's just that it looks like, you know, this is our residential spot. I also have this idea that we want to actually create like a, I don't know if to those who've actually watched Harry Potter, you know, diagonally. Now, I'm not going for that vibe, I'm just going for the look of it, like a very narrow street with like little tight fitting little shops that are very, you know, stuck together. So, and in those shops, then we can have, you know, the various villagers, etc. in that. So I've just made like a shopping street. Then we have this museum street that, or museum district, that we will have our maybe like a block collection, a where we, you know, collect all the discs, for example, where we collect all the shirts, where we collect all the armor templates. So various things. It can just be various collections that we can create. If I'm missing anything, please comment it before I just forget about it. Then in the shopping district, I would also like to again refer to Harry Potter. You know, when they have the street, the shopping street, and then, or diagonally basically, and then at the end they have the bank. Now I'm thinking I would like to do something similar, but the bank would be a place where we can place some villages where they're the kind of villages where we just trade something in for emeralds. So they just basically provide us with emeralds, and we can have some vaults in there as well. So that might be the idea that we're going for there. And then we have the, as you just saw, the library. I was just thinking of like building a nice library there. You know, it could be like cozy vibes, you know, maybe like a little coffee shop or whatever. But yeah, that might be a good idea to have it there. I mean, it could keep or hold our enchanted books, etc. if we don't put that in like various little shops, but we'll see what we do with that. Also, at our nether portal, I was thinking we can just have our little, it can be our nether district and also our end district, because they don't really have like villages that trade end and nether items besides quartz. So yes, we'll have like little buildings there that maybe, you know, we use as storage. And then where we currently have our little tented setup and our mine, we will use that as a mining slash fishing district, so we could set up a little fishing farm, etc. there as well. So I think we have most areas set out. And then I'm also just, as I was working here, this little zombie riding a cow was chasing me. So I really just wanted to show you that. And then I was also just thinking here next to the library, we could have a tower set up maybe with like enchanting set up inside. That might be really cool. And then this is a tip: if there's a lot of grass around where you need to build, just put a water bucket down and it actually washes all the grass out for you. So we are in need of food. So our first little shop that we are going to work on is a bakery called the Golden Crumb. Currently, it's looking like this. So I've used some dark oak, some spruce trapdoors and a door, and then sandstone walls. We have run out of sand, so I would need to go and collect more, but this is currently what it basically looks like. Then I needed some light blue dye for terracotta that I was going to dye for the inside, which you will see later on. But in Bedrock, you can actually just bone meal flowers. So there's some cool farms that we can make with this, but for now we don't have that. But I don't know if you know the trick that if you put the flower one block down, it actually spreads more flowers. This has been tested by people. So as you can see, if I just put a flower on a block and I bone meal it, it only spreads a few, but if I put it one down, it spreads quite a lot. And then you can do this with any flower. I mean, any of the regular flowers, not like the little, ones that grow on the ground, although you can bone meal those as well. Okay, and then this is our progress, where we're at the moment. It's a real trust the process kind of thing. I'm trying to mix some materials, different materials that don't usually look like they would go together, but I'm just adding onto it, and each layer just adding on top of it. And then I've added some wood at the top. It's really looking like a little bit messy, but it'll come together once we've, put some finishing touches on it and just like decorated it a little bit. I'm also just putting in some windows, which isn't glass, but we are putting in some jungle trapdoors. So hopefully that looks nice. If we walk around the building, the one side is very plain because there will be another building right up against this one. So I'm not decorating on the left-hand side of this building. I'm just basically putting windows on all the other sides. And this house by itself, or this little building by itself, is looking a little bit silly. I get it, but once there's a few, they will all blend in together. So yeah, it's a process, but I'm just gonna stop here and we'll continue next episode. I just want to think of more ideas of what we want to do inside, and we'll finish this building right up. So yeah, guys, we'll just end it right there for today. And then next time we'll just continue on with this building. We might think of the interior as well. What I'm thinking is on the upstairs, we might do a little bit of a farm, maybe an auto farm situation. We also have to get a villager in there. So I will show you my process, what I do with villagers and how we trade with them. I hate getting, existing villagers. I like to go this zombie villager route and curing them. So we'll have to do some brewing, we'll have to get golden apples, etc. And I'll show you. Hopefully that works out well, but we'll go through that process next week and get a baker in here or two and see how we can trade with them. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.